Okay, cool. Let's do this. EarthBound is an important game to me. I even have the original strategy guide. Check that out. No shit. Probably be referring to it while I play. This is the first RPG I ever played. I'll probably just do some don't care names from there. Now you'll notice, check this out, when I select OK, you hear a sound that sounds like okiska. Okiska? Oh, what does that mean? In Japanese, OK desu ka? Okiska? He says that really fast. It's a phrase that means, is it okay? So you're confirming, basically, when you say that. I don't have a lot of room. Probably gonna end up being pizza. Is that the default? Steak. No, we're just doing, we gotta do custom. This game, pizza's important to this game. What's your favorite thing? Well, clearly I think rockin' is default. I am a fan of rockin'. Gaming isn't one of the default options. We'll go with rockin', that's cool. Mars, Paula, Jeff, Pooh, King, Pizza, and Rockin'. Let's do it. So, my favorite thing about this game is that this is like what Japan thinks America was like in the 90s. It's like their take on the US, so it's very quirky. You know, Americans walk around and root through trash cans looking for hamburgers. It's all very reasonable. I know a lot of people who pronounce it Onet, but I think it should be Want, just because it's Want, and then the second town is Tucson, and then Threed, and then Forside. I don't think there's any official commentary on that. I think most people's first introduction to EarthBound was from Super Smash Brothers, but like I said, it was the first RPG I'd ever played as a kid. If you've seen the box for this game, it was huge because it came with a strategy guide. So you go to Blockbuster to rent a game, and you'd see this huge box. Like, what the heck is that? I asked my mom to rent it for me, and sure enough, she did, and the rest is history. So when Smash Brothers comes out, and the secret character is Ness, like, I basically crap myself, and that was the best thing ever. And this game has made some advances that just don't exist in other games. That other games really haven't picked up on. One of the big ones is you can do everything in this game with your left hand, more or less. I guess you can't cancel, but the L button is an action button the same way the A button is an action button. It's helpful if you're trying to thumb through the strategy guide while you're playing. Guy's got a tough life. The cops in this town are weird. They like beat up little kids. I don't know if that's part of, the Japanese take on America. They're obsessed with roadblocks. I don't know. Somebody left bread roll. Hiya, buddy. I was fine because I always eat garlic and work out to help make my body stronger. The weaker citizens probably fainted. Okay. Get it, get it. His name is Liar Exaggerate. It's a joke. So Pokey is named Porky in Japan. You'll notice some of the songs in Mother 3, the sequel to EarthBound, will pop up in Smash Brothers, and his name is Porky. I think there's a level where you see Porky, but Pokey in this game. His brother's name is Picky, so they maintain that. Thanks, dude. So being able to play the whole game with your left hand is one of the advances EarthBound made that nobody else really seems to follow. I think you can do that in Bravely Default, which is an excellent game for the 3DS. If you haven't played it, I highly recommend it. That's one. The other one that I really don't think anyone has done, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, is when you win a fight against an enemy that you greatly outclass in EarthBound, you just instantly, like when you walk into them, you don't even have to fight them. The game just gives you the win and gives you the experience and the items for it, rather than making you deal with, trouncing them. And it saves time. It's nice. Yeah. This knocking pattern is drilled into my mind. I will never forget it. It tends to be how I knock. Oh shit! It's Pokey. Listen to what I gotta say. When I took Picky to the place where the meteorite landed. Ah, good evening, ma'am. You're looking lovely as usual. And Pokey's a dick. It's like, how old is he? I think he's like 12. Right. I don't think you can tell him no. Okay. I don't have any examples off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure there's at least one RPG, though, where, like... Oh, okay. Pretty sure there's at least one RPG where it gives you a choice like that, and picking no actually has consequences, like you just get a game over, instead of it forcing you along. Yeah. Tracy runs the Escargot Express, which is a great name for a delivery company. Thanks, Mom. Appreciate the vote of confidence. Hey, you got all this trouble to name your dog, and he's in your party for like 2 minutes. Pokey in battle is actually kind of funny. Like, I think he just like cries, hides behind you. You never see your dad in this game, but he saves your game for you. So my nephew Jaden was playing this game. I had to explain, like, it's the Japanese perception of what it's like in America, but they didn't really change the units over. So when you get $30, he's not really giving you $30. He's giving you 30 yen, which is more like 30 cents. But it gets kind of absurd when you're like, why am I buying a baseball bat that costs $11,000? Like, well, it's not really $11,000. So normally I would like sit here and level and level and level, and you would all die of boredom. So I'm not just gonna walk back and forth fighting runaway dogs, I promise. Maybe it'll make the game a little bit more challenging. If you haven't played EarthBound before, you'll notice the screen scrolled black there. That means that I fought him head on. If I had snuck up behind him, it would have been green. I would have gotten a preemptive strike. If he snuck up behind me, it would have been red, and he would have gotten a preemptive strike. Yeah, another neat mechanic in this game. I don't think you'll see it until probably a little bit around Tucson, the second town. But you'll notice that when you take damage, your health meter literally like scrolls down. And why does that matter? Well, you don't actually die until it hits 0. So if you manage to leave the battle before your hit points hit 0, like by just beating the enemy while it's still scrolling down, you live instead of it just killing you. That's kind of a neat effect. There are some enemies that on purpose deal an obscene amount of damage when they die, and the idea is you just need to scroll through the text very quickly. He's a man's man. He'll show me the Manny Manny statue later. It's optional, but you can see where it comes from. It's important later in the game. Yeah, there. I had the dog in my party for like a minute. I do. Well, I mean, I really don't, but I just don't like Pokey, so. So I want to play the game that Buzz Buzz is from. He's this bee that's from this future where this alien overlord took over the world, and he's been sent back in time to help you. So, like, what's his real form? What's his deal? Like, oh, man. I don't know how everyone pronounces it. I say Gaiagus. I don't think that's right. I think the original Japanese is something like Geeg, but deal with it. It's close. 3 things of the utmost importance: wisdom, courage, and friendship. If you're a Zelda fan, that's one short of the Zelda Trinity. Friendship would be power. Unlike Zelda, it does default to the option there. He says, were you paying attention? Defaults to yes. No, I'm sure you're not, Pokey. He wants to show me something. He wants to show me the Manny Manny statue. It plays that little beep to let you know that you found something important to the plot, although that is strictly optional. We're going to get into a surprising encounter up here around the corner. Buzz Buzz's nemesis, the Starman Jr. You don't see another Starman for a long time after this point. This is basically a scripted fight. Buzz Buzz casts a spell that defends you. And Pokey and Picky, if you care. That keeps him from one-shotting you with that ability. So Buzz Buzz is pretty sweet, but at least Picky tries. Like, he's not as good as Ness, but he always gives it a shot. Music's bumping in this game. Nice hit. So many times has that happened, I wonder. Picky finishes him off with a critical hit. So a neat little Easter egg. You see how when you critically hit in this game it says SMASH across the top of the screen. If you play the new Smash Brothers for 3DS or Wii U, and you have to be playing as Ness, and you have to find one of those Starmen. If you hit them with a smash attack, it says smash on the screen, just like it does in this. Alright, poor Buzz Buzz is not long for this world, unfortunately. I think this is a point of censorship, excuse me, in the US version of the game. Like, Pokey and Picky's dad goes and kicks their ass. He beats them. But in the US version of the game, they kind of change what he says. He's like, I have to give them a talking to. You still hear this loud sound, though. Yeah. Uh-huh. See, I wonder if that's true. And I wonder if, like, the money that he loaned us is what my dad is depositing in my ATM all the time. Alright, so we fight the Starman, no big deal, but Pokey's mom should be the real final boss of the game. I think it's a dung beetle. I'll smash your guts out. I was much weaker than I thought. So now you must begin adventure. Okay, man. To defeat Gygus, your own power must unite with the Earth's. Oh man, I gotta collect the things. Dude is dying, I'm not gonna be a jerk and say no. Nope, I'm good. Any folks in chat, have any of you played EarthBound before? Do you have any memories of this game? Or had anyone only seen Ness in Smash Brothers? Fuzzy Pickles. I'm sure you get the favorite food reference there. She'll mention it on the phone, I think, if you call her, but that's about it. Now, don't quote me on this. This might be the earliest Nintendo game where they bug you for playing for too long. I know that it's actually not too uncommon for Nintendo games to do that now, like have a loading screen that says remember to take a break, that kind of a thing. But I think this might be the first one where if you're playing for too long, your dad actually calls you and tells you that you should chill out. Alright. you'll probably see that because I'm not gonna be turning the game off. I'm just gonna use save state. I'm not actually going to use that to manipulate the gameplay, but. What a cute yellow backpack. A lot of fourth wall breaking in this game. She's gonna do it too. Very self-referential. Yeah, what a cute yellow backpack. I don't think I'm crazy. I'm not just complimenting Ness at random. I'm gonna go find. There's a secret over here. Okay, it looks like Pigpen. I'm gonna say yes, and then I say just kidding. Oh shit! Secret house. Give me your hat. And somehow he still has his hat. Dude's a Casanova. Okay. That'll help. I won't have to buy anything at the store. Give me that hamburger. Yeah. $14 hamburger. It's because of the yen conversion. It's not going to be enough. Yeah, not quite. Start with a T-ball bat. Yeah, I think so. Okay, let's go. Probably want to save up the money to get the cheap bracelet before I go fight the sharks. There's these gang members at the bottom of the town. So you can remember as a kid them kind of kicking my ass. They're not that hard, but it helps to be geared. Let's see if I can find some wild dogs or spiteful crows. Stole a bread roll. See, that is glorious. Every game should have that. And you think about it, by the time you're good enough that those things die instantly, one experience doesn't mean anything anyway, so... These guys are like traveling entertainers, yeah. So they're homeless. There are moles you'll fight later in the game, though. Don't be fooled. those sharks I was talking about. Oh, lucky that hurts when he hits. Oh, yeah, see? It's a big chunk of my health. Ugh. I give a decent amount of experience, but... Oh, baby. Defense went up by 4. Hypnosis isn't particularly good, but... Eating some cookies, recovering health. Probably gonna eat that. This dude might kill me. Ugh. Yeah. Didn't play it safe. I have to say my nephew is playing EarthBound, and I'd be very proud of him. He always deposited every dollar he got. Which I did not do, because I figured, oh, I was safe, I'm invincible, I got these cookies and these cans of fruit juice. Folly of man. Hey, I got a green one. Right. Not actually having to fight a dude. Pretty good deal at the end of the day. Alright. Now, so when you die in this game, you lose half the money that's on you. You don't lose anything that's in your ATM. I don't think you don't lose any experience. Just gotta grind up some cash to get the cheap bracelet, and then we'll go fight the sharks. I don't know if anybody speedruns EarthBound. I don't know what the time is like. I'd rather just play it casually, but if you've seen some of those crazy speedruns like the Final Fantasy one, they do a lot of random number generator manipulation, and there's really not a lot of RNG here except for the spawn patterns of enemies. You don't have like random battles though. And I'm curious if they have a way to manipulate whether an enemy falls down like you just did. Hey, alright, I'll take a hamburger. Alright, preemptive strike. Alright, plan here, I'm going to get up to the first sanctuary spot at Giant Step, and then I'm going to save and call it a day. That'll probably be another 30 minutes to an hour-ish. And then I will continue streaming from there either tomorrow or Thursday, and around the same start time. You can look in my stream to see those details. 98. Alright. Wait, am I... I am $1 short. Let's see, bad math simulator over here. Marstead's part. Yeah, this is the guy that kicked my ass last time. Yeah, just... Ugh. Alright. I don't have any PP. Okay. I just gotta... Hope. And that money's gone. So I think I'm ultimately losing more time by not grinding a little bit at the beginning here. That's okay. Let me me go take a nap. I guess when I die I don't get my PP back, which is the problem. There we go. That's 3 life ups. That's enough to not die next time if that happens. There's a hint man in one of those houses. I might be okay. I was about to say I might be okay. I think I really need one more level, or I need to get that. Oh man, this is not looking good. Not again. Whew. Oh, I lucked out. Not over yet though. Yep. See me die 3 times on the sharks. It's cool. We'll get another level before we go after more than one of them again. Oh, you actually lose all of your PP when you die. Interesting. Get your mind out of the gutter, by the way. PP is psychic points. Alright. Let's go get my magic points back, or psychic points. Okay, Operation Don't Get Killed is $25. Don't get killed, buy a cheap bracelet, and get at least one more level before trying to mess with the sharks again. Multiple sharks. I can take one at full health. Like this guy. Nice. That makes such a huge difference if he misses with that. Like 16 damage is a huge chunk of my health. Okay, we're gonna play it safe now. 12 hit points. That's an entire attack. Alright, do you see that there on the left? No, I'm noping out of here. There's one too many dudes. I think this game has a enemies generate, yeah, depending on where you are on the screen. I still don't want to fight more than one guy. Might be able to go in here. There's some guys that fight you. I did. Although I wonder what happens if you come in the arcade without having killed anybody. Getting hella hamburgers in this club. Okay. Drink the fruit juice. So this is funny, like, Kid Dylan got stuck on this part for a very long time, because of course I want to become a member. It says come back after you finish EarthBound. So at least one rental cycle, I played this game, I talked to this guy, he says, do you want to be a member? I say yes, you know, because I'm a friendly kid. And it's not until I actually look in the guide, which mentioned the guide, where you find out you have to tell him no. He calls you a snob and he fights you and he lets you through the door. It just did not occur to me to say no to that guy. Okay, cool. Nope. Not even trying to hear that. Alright, take one of them as long as his buddy doesn't come running. Sometimes he just attacks, and that's not a big deal, but when he shreds fiercely... Okay, we're doing this now. We're not taking risks. We're not rushing things. Slightly more tolerable now. Alright, we're going to see if we can afford a cheap bracelet. We're going to be wise like my nephew Jaden, who, like I said, always deposited his money in the ATM so he wouldn't lose it if he died. I've died 3 times without having done that. Okay, I've got enough money though to get the thing that I want. So we're actually going to math correctly this time. There we go. And be $10 off anyway. ATM simulator, there you go. I'm not going to take any more out than I need. I'm just going to get this bracelet, I'm going to equip it, I'm going to get 5 defense, which in the context of it previously being 10 is a big deal. And I guess I'll go back to my house and get a free nap. Get my PP back so I can heal myself. I don't want to, but I should. Alright, so we're gonna take a nap. Take a nap, get all of our juices back. We're gonna save real quick. We're gonna head down to the sharks. We're gonna fight Frank. It's not just Frank though, he also got his Frankystein Mark II. We're gonna beat both of them, we're gonna trounce them, it's gonna be no big deal. He's not gonna one-shot me. And then we'll move on with the game. If you haven't followed the events so far, I am the chosen hero. There's an alien in the future who's taken over the world, and I'm the only one that can stop him, along with my 3 friends, Paula, Jeff, and Pooh. I'm in the town of Want. Some people call it Onet, but I think it should be Want because the names of the towns are different, different numbers. Probably works better in the Japanese. I bet it's a direct pun. Anyway, right now we're trying to go to the sanctuary spots. There are 8 of them. If I get all the sanctuary spots, I learn the 8 pieces of this great melody that's going to make me very, very powerful. The first one is in this town. It's called Giant Step, but the door to get there is locked. So to get through that locked door, I need to convince the mayor to let me through. The police have basically put up a roadblock that won't let me pass. The mayor has a problem. In his town, there's these gang members. They're called the Sharks. And they're a problem because they're a gang. I don't know if there's anything specific that they've done other than just be general nuisances, riding skateboards around and pogo sticks and hula hoops, just youth nuisance kind of a thing. So I'm going to take care of the Sharks. I'm going to develop a weird father-son relationship with their leader, Frank, who's going to heal me for free after I beat him. I'm going to go talk to the mayor, and he's going to be like, hey, you took care of my Sharks problem. I've got a police force that mostly beats up children, and they're not going to do that, but you, basically a 10-year-old boy, took on an entire gang by yourself. Good job. And he's going to give me a key that's going to let me get through that shack I mentioned that will take me to my first sanctuary spot. At least that's what I'm hoping is going to happen. I could also walk in here and Frank could kill me in one hit. I used to be really disappointed that you couldn't play these arcade games. Although you notice one of them is definitely Jumpman, Donkey Kong right there. This is probably either Breakout or Galaga. They did a pretty good job at making it clear what those are. Alright, here we go. No, silent protagonist, man. It's only Final Fantasy games the protagonist talks. Don't have offensive magic yet, so I'm just gonna... Ooh, it hurts. We're gonna try to take 2 hits before we heal. Get the maximum out of that life up. That heals for a lot. He comes out swinging. Nice. Oh man. The game is apologizing. Although, I can't blame the game. Like my wife says, no Johns, no excuses. You fail, it's your fault. Now I gotta fight his robot. And his robot's actually easier than he is. I don't think it has any nasty one-shot attacks. It likes to waste turns. 13 damage is tolerable. See, it's just over. It's not even a big deal. Here I am. I get 3 game overs on the Sharks, and the 2 bosses are easy mode. So what does Frank know about Giant Step? Like, it's just this place where there's a big footprint. He does it, like, what kind of wondrous feats? It's called hypercorrection, what he says there. He says, Mars, you become stronger than I. Well, you become stronger than me. Or you could say you become stronger than I am. Free heal, don't have to walk all the way back home. Oh, he says it again. It arcs at you. I have a very good friend. I actually met him in class in like 5th grade, a long, long time ago, because I saw him reading the EarthBound strategy guide, and I went up to him and said, hey man, have you heard of this game? Clearly he has, he's playing it right. So I just walk here and yeah, I went on autopilot. I gotta go get the key to the city from the mayor first. Anyway though, I saw him with this guide, and he's like, yeah man, I'm at this part of the game. He's probably like 75% of the way in the game. If you've played it before, he's at Starman Deluxe. And he's like, Starman Deluxe, I just don't know what to do, I'm stuck. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll come over and take a look. And I looked at his game file, and he didn't have any equipment. He hadn't equipped anything. I think he equipped the cracked bat, and that was it. But he had made it all the way to Starman Deluxe without wearing any gear. And these days, they would make a run out of that, like a no equipment run. Alright, where the hell is it? Okay. That was an impressive feat. Character's all bulked out. Alright. If you come here earlier, she won't let you upstairs because you're like a 10-year-old kid. But now you're a 10-year-old kid who fought off a gang instead of the police, so... Huzzah! It's just scummy people in this game. What a scumbag. Okay. So, tasks in hand. Go to Giant Step. On our way. We're at full health. Have no money on us, so if we die again, we're not going to lose anything. We're going to go through this cave. We're going to fight some slugs and some mice. It's going to be awesome. Some ants. One really big ant. Titanic Ant. Oh man. This guy's running away now. You win! Every game. Come on. Am I running out of space? Okay. Got a lot of hamburgers. Because I can use that instead of life up. Now there's kind of a pseudo trick inside of this dungeon that I'm going into here. There's a place where there's a very high chance... I gotta open the door. Thanks, man. There's a place where there's an extremely high chance that, that was the body, okay. Magic butterfly will spawn, and they give you back your PP. The thing that fuels your magic, your psychic abilities, one of which is life up. So if you walk out of that door, you get the butterfly, heal yourself, walk back out, walk back in, get all your PP back. Don't have to leave. It's like a mobile hotel. So I think what they're trying to establish with these mice is that they have a high guts stat. Guts is the stat that determines whether or not you critically hit, and when they don't critically hit, they do like 1 damage. They're not a big deal, but when they crit, which is frequently, they do a lot. So those black ants are probably the nastiest enemy that I'll run into in here. Theoretically, I could save the skip sandwich. It heals me slightly, but the main thing is it makes me run faster briefly. I'm surprised they put that on an item like that you don't really have room in your inventory to carry lots of. I don't have my PSI rocket yet, so I can't one-shot these slugs. Okay, these guys are like free experience. They do very little damage, they're not very dangerous, you fight a lot of them. Good for getting money too when you need it. It's probably an ant, I'm gonna guess, since he's solo. I think on the art on the ants, let's take a look. I think that's supposed to be a smile on the bottom of their face. Yeah, I think those are like eyes and then a smile. I would hazard. That's my guess anyway. It's cool. Like these days, you know, they'll do concept art for a game. The concept art for this, they're all like clay models. And as a result, all the enemies look almost identical. It's quite impressive. Whoops, I was not paying attention. Observe that. Okay. I'll eat it. Oof, okay. It's interesting, the smash attack does less damage than the ant's regular attack. I know conventional wisdom is never use any item ever, but I'm gonna avoid that. I'm actually running out of inventory space, so I'm gonna need a hamburger, and I'll eat that cookie. Oh, I'm still not maxed out. No, okay. 75 hit points. I admire my wife. She actually uses items, which is the correct thing to do. Yeah, I think it's like a smiley face, a little red on the bottom of it. Like the antenna or eyes, kinda. That was an unlucky battle. About to eat another hamburger. Or, well, no, I'm actually gonna life up. I'm getting close to the point where I get the free magic butterfly. Ah. Boo! I was trying to get a preemptive strike. Okay, well that could have been worse. That's not good. I'm gonna die in here. Oh, good times. Yeah. It's cool. I got a bunch of experience in the meantime. Let's get my PP back. See, this is interesting because when you do something like this on Twitch, you feel kind of compelled, especially seeing that most people who play retro games do speedruns. You feel sort of compelled to like, okay, I don't want to bore the audience. I'm not just going to sit here and walk back and forth and fight, runaway dogs for an hour. That's what I do when I play EarthBound. I don't just like go from objective to objective. So as a result, I'm usually, out-leveled for all the content I get to, and it's very easy. So it's kind of neat to see game overs in EarthBound. I kind of want to see more of that. I'm sure I will at this rate. This is probably more like when I played it as a kid and didn't know how. It was my first RPG, so I didn't know you could sit and just grind enemies for hours and hours and hours. So I'm not going to do that. Hopefully we'll get some more fun, close matches there, and not just obliterate everything fight to fight. I have to give props to this game. The difficulty curve is pretty good. There are a lot of Super Nintendo RPGs just a lot of RPGs in general that the difficulty just takes a dive. You get to some level, some point in the game, and everything just dies in one hit. Probably the most famous example would be Final Fantasy Tactics, where like the game is actually pretty hard, especially the first 2 or 3 fights. But as soon as you get Sid in your party, it's game over. Like, you kill everything in one hit, you're basically invincible. But I feel like EarthBound stays consistently difficult for the whole game. I mean, you can grind it out and out-level content, and it won't be too hard, but it's pretty well balanced. I know that an interesting counterexample is Final Fantasy VIII. The core mechanic in Final Fantasy VIII, the whole thing that makes it different battle-wise, is that all the enemies scale with you. So if you're level 10, the enemies are level 10. You're like, oh great, that's like the best balancing mechanic ever, right? Well, no. Like, that game is probably easier than any other Final Fantasy. You just face roll all the content. And it's not because of the scaling isn't right. I think the scaling is fine. It's just there's other systems in the game that make you stupid powerful. I'd be interested in seeing a Final Fantasy VIII playthrough where you try to limit yourself in some way to actually make it fairly difficult. But playing cards is a big part of the problem. You know, you can sit in Balam Garden and play cards with people pretty much until you get some of the ultimate weapons before you even leave and do the first mission. Which is fun, it's cool to do, but it makes the game trivial once you do. A lot of games these days try to add optional difficulty modes, like Bravely Default is fairly recent. That one can be made pretty hard if you opt for it. I think that's probably the way to go. There's a cookie. I especially enjoy Nintendo's strategy right now is let's put in a mechanic that makes the difficulty go away that's optional. They had Super Mario 3D World has a mechanic where you can get this like white Tanuki suit, and it makes you invincible and lets you fly through the whole level. And they give it to you once you've died a certain number of times. You don't have to take it, but it's optional. And I think what it lets them do is it lets them make very difficult content for the hardcore audience, and then still lets it be accessible to the more casual crowd. After that fight. Shit. All that for a cold remedy. Okie dokie. Moving on. Let's just take him out. Be lazy. Getting close to a magic butterfly. Alright, Max. Okay. That was the butterfly I was talking about earlier. It's almost always out there. It's maybe like a 90% chance of spawning, and you can just walk in and out of that door. It's like a pseudo checkpoint. Hamburger. Really? Okay. I don't think I'm ever... Well, we'll just get rid of the cookies. I have to say, I haven't played many games where inventory management is actually an interesting mechanic. I love this game to death. I don't know if it's interesting in this one. It's not that I want to be overpowered in every game and always have, you know, infinite resources, but what interesting scenarios does the limited inventory create? You know, you really can't predict when you're going to be afflicted with cold, for example, you know, when you get sick. So there's not a lot of reason to carry a cold remedy around with you in favor of some of the other items. I think that's to its detriment. Damn, man. There's cookies everywhere. Alright. We're gonna save after this guy. We're gonna try to take care of his little ant buddies behind him there. That'll be dangerous. Oof. Okay, that's the only time I get to cast it. just enough PP for me so that I can't heal myself. He's gonna keep shielding himself. That's okay, I think I got this. Take it. I got all those hamburgers. T2's pretty good. I don't think I can really roll. Nope. Man, it might kill me. We'll see. All those shields. Whew. It's close. Came pretty close there, guys. Okay. When you level up, it's actually randomly generated, and I could cheese it by save stating right before, and then loading state if I don't get the levels I want, but I can do that. My nephew can play that song on saxophone. I'm very proud. 1 out of 8. I've got a music puzzle like that coming up in my D&D game that I run. Probably won't be streaming that one, but at some point I want to get enough viewers that it makes sense to stream Dungeons & Dragons. That would be really cool. This is another cool mechanic that is unique to EarthBound. Like when you beat a dungeon, namely when you beat one of these sanctuary spots, on your way out all the enemies are scared of you. So they run away, and you can either just ignore them if you're taking a bunch of damage, or you can fight them and get the preemptive strikes for free. This is really clever. There are some games these days that just teleport you out of the dungeon when you finish it, which that's a good solution. Like, I don't think it's a good player experience to make you walk all the way back, but if they're going to make you walk back, making everything run away from you, that's very smart. In fact, I'd even say that making you walk back but having the enemies run away from you is a better player experience than just teleporting you out, because it kind of gives you this sense of you're this powerful character. You came in here and these, mice and slugs were kicking your ass, and you beat the boss, and now they're like, oh, I don't want to mess with this 10-year-old kid. Big fan.